Sonic 3 caused quite the stir, proving that we're firmly in the era of movies based on video game franchises. And for the joy of fans everywhere, a new Sonic movie has been announced for 2027.
You're a colorful bunch.
But do you have any idea about the incredible things that might happen in this upcoming production?
The more you talk, the harder I want to hit you.
For those unaware, the post-credit scene of Sonic 3 has already revealed the next big threat our hero will face: Metal Sonic. This robotic nemesis mimics Sonic's powers and is determined to destroy him to prove its superiority. But what if we told you that this villain might have been observing Sonic long before that post-credit scene? That's right, in Sonic 4, we might discover that Metal Sonic was watching Sonic's team and Shadow from afar during the events of the third movie, collecting data on his future adversaries and learning from them. One of Metal Sonic's most notable abilities is analyzing powers and movements to develop strategies for defeating his targets, functioning as a true artificial intelligence. Additionally, as seen in the post-credit scene, Metal Sonic has multiple bodies, but it doesn't seem like they're individual robots with separate consciousnesses. Instead, it looks like a single entity controlling all bodies simultaneously as they appeared together. If that's the case, the cinematic Metal Sonic could be an AI capable of controlling any kind of technology, like phones, computers, televisions, or even satellites. So what if all the electronic devices shown in the movie were actually used as cameras for Metal Sonic to monitor Sonic's every move? This could also explain how Metal Sonic managed to find Sonic in the post-credit scene. The Hedgehog had just sprinted to New York, and it's likely the villain followed him, unless his base of operations is actually in New York State Park, which would be quite amusing. This is just the first incredible theory about Sonic 4, and there's much more where that came from, so get on board because another episode of Cinewave is starting. Another character who is bound to play a major role in Sonic 4 is Amy Rose, also introduced in the same post-credit scene as Metal Sonic. However, her arrival left fans scratching their heads as she appeared at the perfect moment to save the main character and effortlessly defeated several Metal Sonics. This has led many to believe that Amy Rose might already have some connection to Metal Sonic. But how could that be? Especially since even Sonic himself didn't know about his new enemy yet. Here's a mind-blowing possibility. The cinematic version of Amy might have a completely different backstory. While the original version was a simple girl who fell in love with Sonic after being saved by him, this new Amy could come from a dystopian future where Metal Sonic destroyed everything. Remember that both Amy and Metal Sonic were introduced in Sonic CD, the same game that featured the Time Stones, gems that allow the user to travel through time. Could it be that Amy used the Time Stones to go back to the past? This would explain how she found both Sonic and Metal Sonic, as she already knew they'd be there. It also justifies her wearing a completely different outfit from her video game counterpart because they've lived entirely different lives. If Amy's crush on Sonic is adapted here, it would make much more sense. In this potential future, Sonic might have become a famous hero who died, probably at the hands of Metal Sonic. As a devoted fan, Amy might have decided to travel back in time to help her childhood hero defeat Metal Sonic. Interestingly, the games already feature characters from an apocalyptic future, such as Silver from Sonic the Hedgehog. Perhaps the filmmakers drew inspiration from his storyline to craft this new version of Amy, considering there likely wouldn't be time to introduce Silver and his backstory in Sonic 4. Dr. Robotnik, or Eggman, met an emotional end in Sonic 3, sacrificing himself to save the world. But what if that wasn't the end for him? After all, the previous movie ended with the mad scientist seemingly meeting his demise, but he ultimately survived. Perhaps history will repeat itself, as Robotnik is arguably the smartest person in the Sonic universe and always finds a way to come out on top. Moreover, Jim Carrey, the actor behind Dr. Robotnik, has hinted that he might return for Sonic 4, which means there's a chance his character is still alive. The real question is, will he come back as a villain, or will he embrace redemption and become a true ally to Sonic? And another question, do you want him to return? If so, comment #Eggman. Do you enjoy watching a movie and getting hit with a major plot twist? Whether you answered yes or no, get ready, because it's very likely that Sonic 4 will deliver a mind-blowing twist. In the games, Metal Sonic was created by Dr. Robotnik to help him defeat the world's fastest hedgehog. The movies seem to be heading in the same direction, especially since the scientist managed to get his hands on one of Sonic's quills, which could be used to replicate his powers. Robotnik apparently died in Sonic 3, but we've already discussed how he might have survived. Even if he didn't, nothing stops him from having created the robot before his demise. But what if we're completely wrong? What if there's a shocking twist revealing that Metal Sonic's origin in the cinematic universe is entirely different? The writers might decide to explore a theory that has existed since Metal Sonic first appeared in the games, though it's never been confirmed. This theory suggests that Metal Sonic isn't just a robotic replica of the protagonist, but rather Sonic himself from another dimension, transformed into an android. This would explain a lot, as Metal Sonic in the games often shows a will of his own and even betrays Eggman in Sonic Heroes. Additionally, he constantly claims to be the real Sonic, which suggests he's not just a robot trying to replace the original. In Sonic's comics, there's a scene that might support this theory. Metal Sonic plunges his hand into a liquid virus that turns living beings into robots, and he appears sad when he realizes he isn't infected. The usual interpretation of this moment is that he's lamenting not being alive. But perhaps the truth is that Metal Sonic is remembering that he was once infected by this virus, which turned him into a robot. If that's the case, Dr. Robotnik might have lied all along about creating him. The scientist might have merely adopted Metal Sonic and brainwashed him. Although this theory has never been confirmed in the games, the Sonic movies have already made some pretty drastic changes to the story, such as Sonic living in the human world and the Chaos Emeralds being fragments of the Master Emerald. So if the theory about Amy coming from the future is true, it could mean that Metal Sonic's main body in the movie is actually a future version of Sonic infected by a virus that turned him into an evil robot. And if that's the case, he might have traveled back in time to take over the world and infect his younger self, creating a time paradox where Metal Sonic only exists because he turned his past self into an android. Creepy, isn't it? If you're familiar with the story of the Shadow the Hedgehog game from 2005, you know that the Black Arms are an alien species tied to Shadow's past. After all, the Dark Hedgehog was created using the DNA of Black Doom, the leader of the Black Arms. Since one of the post-credit scenes from Sonic 3 revealed that Shadow is alive, it's very likely we'll see him in the next movie. Therefore, the filmmakers might delve deeper into his backstory by introducing the Black Arms. Metal Sonic has Sonic's powers, but perhaps he won't be able to defeat all of Sonic's friends at once. If that's the case, it's not hard to imagine Metal Sonic teaming up with Black Doom to strengthen his forces. However, the Black Arms might not make their debut in Sonic 4. Many fans speculate that Shadow will star in a spin-off series released before the movie to set up his storyline. A few years ago, this idea would have seemed impossible, but Knuckles had a similar role in Sonic 2 and got his own series. Do you really think they'd miss the opportunity to create a production entirely focused on Shadow, one of the franchise's most beloved characters? If this series does happen, it will likely adapt the story of Shadow's solo game and explore the Black Arms' backstory, since they're the villains of that game. This would make their potential appearance in Sonic 4 even more impactful. Additionally, we might see Rouge the Bat and E123 Omega in the series, as they, alongside Shadow, form Team Dark in the games. Before we dive into the last theories in this video, why not subscribe to the channel to stay updated on our Sonic videos and all your favorite shows? In the games, one of Amy Rose's most defining traits for a long time was her deep, unconditional love for Sonic, calling herself Sonic's girlfriend. The movie version of Amy might not be as over the top about it, especially since the games themselves are gradually moving away from this characterization. Plus, the cinematic Amy seems more serious, especially if she's truly from a dystopian future. But what if she still has feelings for Sonic, even if they're expressed in a more subtle way? It would be fascinating to see the two gradually fall for each other. Game Sonic has never reciprocated Amy's love because he's more interested in adventures than romance. However, his movie counterpart has a very different personality and has never encountered another girl of his own kind, so the possibility of a romance in this movie can't be ruled out. Since Amy Rose is confirmed to be in Sonic 4, this will likely be the movie with the largest cast of CGI characters. But the roster could be even bigger than we expect. While Sonic has his Team Sonic, Amy has Team Rose, which includes Cream the Rabbit and Big the Cat. Could Amy have brought them along with her, wherever she came from? Even if Cream and Big don't play major roles, it's very likely they'll make an appearance in Sonic 4. If you want to keep having fun, click on one of the 2 videos we've left on your screen. Thanks for watching, and see you next time!